Hey everybody, Mr. Wagner here. It's a good day to code. Okay, so let's do this. We are on Flappy 5. If I run, you're going to see Flappy 4. We had just 2 pipes moving. In this particular one, we are going to get our pipes, all of the pipes on there. It turns out on Flappy Bird, there's really only 6 pipes and they recycle themselves all the time, okay? And you really only see like two, maybe 3 on the screen at any one time. But basically that's all we're doing is we're just going to draw up 6 pipes. Okay, let's get going. As we scroll down here, let's see here, we are going to go into the place where we made our pipes. Now we made our up pipe and our down pipe, but really what we want to do, and this is sort of like the breakout game, is we want to create like a whole bunch of pipes. So we're going to have a make pipes function to do that. So we're going to get rid of these 2 lines because we don't really need those right now. We are going to do this. We're going to say pipes equals pygame dot sprite dot group. Okay, with a capital G R-O-U-P. Okay, now we're creating a group of sprites, which is kind of like a list of sprites. Pygame likes to use groups. In previous, in Breakout we use a list. You could probably use a list in this too, but let's do it the way that Pygame kind of wants us to do it. So let's create a group, and then we're going to say make pipes. And then we're going to pass pipes, okay? Now, obviously, we haven't created the make pipes function yet, but we're going to do that in just a second. But instead of, so let's pretend we already have those pipes made, and let's go down and see how we would draw those pipes. Okay, so we are going to come down here. This is where we are doing all of our drawing of pipes. And that's the old way, but we are going to do this. We're going to say for P in pipes, colon, and we are going to say screen dot blit, and then we are going to say P dot image and P dot rect. Okay, so there's our pipe and our pipe rect, and we need to do a p.update, okay, because the pipes are going to move just like they did before. And that should be good to call our drawing of the pipes, but we need to get rid of this other code because that was from Flappy 4. Okay, so there's our pipe drawing. But now we need to make the darn pipes because right now we don't have anything. So we're going to work on this make pipes function, and we're going to put it right in front, right before the pygame.init, because we like to have our classes first and then our functions like just right after that. Def make pipes, and then we're going to say pipes. Okay. Now, one thing I want to caution you about, if I were to have put a tab here, then this make pipes is actually part of this class called pipe, and we don't want that. We need to have that tabbed at the back level here because this is not part of this. This is its own thing. Okay. We are going to make our pipes here. But let's create a few things in here. So first thing we are going to do, I'm going to show you a new command, and that is basically this: global sprites folder. That global command basically says that if there is a place in here where sprites folder variable exists, then we're going to use that instead of creating a new sprites folder. And that becomes very useful because down here we had this sprites folder equals sprites. because we're going to need that within make pipes. Now, I could have just said sprites folder equals sprites, and that'd be fine, but this is what's known as a global variable. As a coder, I tend to not use a whole lot of global variables. I tend to try to keep everything clean a little bit, but some global variables are kind of nice. And we are going to have a couple variables. We're going to say vert, like vertical space between pipes equals 150. Remember, we have an upper pipe and a lower pipe, so I'm going to have a space between the pipes, and that's going to be 150 pixels. I'm going to say pipe height equals 320, okay? And the way that I know that the pipe height is 320 is I can go in here and I can like look at one of my pipes, and it says it's 52 by 320 pixels. Okay, so my pipe height is 320. I'm going to have what's known as a start delay, okay, because the first pipe that comes scrolling across, it starts over, you know, on the right side, so we need a start delay, and I'm going to give that a value of the screen width times 1.5. Okay, so that's kind of arbitrary, but you know, I wanted a half a screen width to the right. Okay, that's my start delay, and I'm also going to have, since we have a vertical space between pipes, we want a horizontal space between pipes. And let's see here. I'm going to have that screen width divided by 1.5. Now what's nice about this is you can fiddle with these numbers and you get your pipes closer or taller or whatever as you see fit for your own program. Okay, so that just created a few variables to use. Now let's go ahead and create our pipes, but I want you to notice that as we create our pipes, remember I said we had 6 pipes, so we need basically 3 columns of an up-down pipe. Okay, so that sounds like a for loop to me. I'm going to just say for C in range of 3. Okay, now remember with a for loop, C is going to be 0 first, and then it's going to be 1, and then it's going to be 2, and then we'll drop out of the for loop. So it'll be C is 0, C is 1, C is 2, okay? Since when we're making our pipes, we always make them with that upper left-hand corner as being the top, okay? So what we're going to do is we are going to make the bottom pipe first, and then we're going to make the top pipe, because the bottom pipe, we can set the height to whatever random number we're going to make. And then the top pipe, we will set that based upon what the bottom pipe is. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a variable called random. And that is going to equal random dot rand int, random integer, and let's just go between 150 and 350. Okay, that's going to be the top of the bottom pipe. Okay, so pound top of, move that down, bottom pipe. Okay. Now notice random is underlined in red. That means we need to import that. So let's go ahead and take care of that real quick. We'll go up to the top here where import is. Import OS. We'll do import random. Okay, there we go. Pop, pop, pop. Let's go down here and back into make pipes. We have a random number. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a down pipe. So we're going to say down equals pipe And then we're going to say os.path.join. And we want the sprites folder. That's with caps, isn't it? Sprites folder. And then we want with pipe dash green dash lower dot png. Okay. Okay, that's the first part of it. And then we need the start delay. Okay, that is underlined in red, probably means so we need our start delay, which is how far over we are going to the right, plus the horizontal space between the pipes, okay, plus a little bit, times C. So that first pipe is only going to be the start delay because C is going to be 0, right? C is 0. The second pipe, C is going to be 1, so it's going to be the start delay and then scooted over the horizontal amount between the pipes. And the third one is going to be scooted over twice. And then the top is whatever our random value is, right? That make sense? Okay. So we'll do that. And then we need to create our upper pipe. Up equals pipe. Okay, these are kind of tricky, and these took me a little bit of time to get going. So, give yourself a little bit of a break. I'm going to copy this because it's already written. But we are doing the upper pipe, right? So I'm going to change that to upper. And our upper pipe, the top of it, the left part of it needs to be the same thing as our down pipe, right? So start delay plus the horizontal space between pipes times C, right? Right? Now I could have said down.rect.left, and that could have gotten rid of all that, but this will work. And then let's figure out what the top left part of the upper part is, of the upper pipe is relative to the lower pipe, okay? And that happens to be the random number, okay? So that's the top of the upper pipe. Plus we have to we need to subtract off the vertical space between the pipes, okay? So now we're at the top of the random, but we've now subtracted off the vertical amount of space between the pipes, and now we need to subtract away the pipe height, right? Okay? So we got the bottom pipe is sticking up. We go to the top of that, we subtract off how much space between the pipes, and then we have to subtract off the pipe height. And that'll give us where we want to start our thing. Now what's going on here? I think we're missing a thing, and pipe height, the H is capitalized. Okay, so notice how I got rid of all those little red lines. That's important. Okay, so now we have a down pipe and an up pipe, and now we need to add those to pipes. So we're going to say pipes dot add. Let's go ahead and add the upper pipe, and then pipes dot add and the down pipe, right? So now we've added those two pipes. Let's go ahead and hit run. Oh, well, look at that. Okay, so it drew all three of them. And it keeps recycling them. And you would think that that was it, okay? And I guess that works because we had our code from the update already written, okay? But I want you to notice that every third pipe is exactly the same, okay? So like this pipe is up kind of tall, but you'll notice that the third pipe, it's up kind of tall. So every time they go off the screen, here's the problem. We need them to re-randomize where that is. Otherwise, the game would just sit there and repeat and repeat and repeat. And the first time I wrote this Flappy Bird game, I didn't put that little bit of code in, so I really had to kind of think about it. How am I going to do that? And the bottom line is I need to connect one pipe to the other. So in other words, I need to make sure that my down pipe is connected to the upper pipe, so I can update, you know, the upper and lower values with a new random number, okay? And that all happens within the update command. Okay, so let's take a look at how that is done. Hopefully I can explain that very well because it's tricky, okay? So let's go ahead and take a peek at our constructor for the pipe, okay? And right here, here's where we're creating our pipe. And I'm going to add another thing. I'm going to call it self.sibling equals none. Okay, now what I want to do with the sibling is if I have like a lower pipe, I want the sibling of that lower pipe to be the upper pipe. Does that make sense? Okay, because that way I can change the sibling and then rebuild how things are doing. So I'm going to say self.sibling equals none. And then I'm going to say, let's see here, when we are making the pipe up.sibling equals down. Okay, so in other words, the upper pipe, I want to connect the lower pipe to it. Okay, the upper pipe, I want to connect the lower pipe. So I have the upper pipe connected to the lower pipe by saying that its sibling is a link into that lower pipe object. Okay, so now when I go into the update command of the pipes, when the upper pipe goes off the side of the screen, I want the lower pipe to follow. Okay, when the upper pipe goes off the screen, I want the lower pipe to follow. Okay, so let's go up here, and in here, here's where the pipe goes off the screen. So if I say, if self.rect.write is equal to 0, and self.sibling is not equal to none, okay, none is not equal to none, meaning I'm dealing with the upper pipe. The upper pipe has gone off the right, okay? I don't even deal with the lower pipe because I never set the lower pipe sibling. So as long as I don't set the lower pipe sibling, then update only really resets when I'm dealing with the upper pipe, okay? So once we do that, then we can change the left side of the sibling. So I can say self.sibling .left equals self.rect.left self.rect.width times 10. Okay. So basically I've set the rectangle of the sibling. Remember, the sibling is the lower, the sibling is the lower pipe. I've set its left side to be whatever the upper pipe is, okay? And now let's go ahead and generate a new random number. Random between 150 and 350. Oh, I need random in there. So there's our random number. We need to set the top of the bottom pipe and set the top of the top pipe, much like we did when we made the pipes in the first place. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to have these variables here to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste those into the update command because we're going to need those things. And then let's go ahead and say self.sibling. Remember, self.sibling is the lower pipe, .rect.top, the top of the rectangle of the sibling, which is the lower. Sometimes this stuff gets you and you have to like draw little diagrams to figure out what's exactly going on, is equal to random, okay, because that's our random generated number. So we've set the bottom, okay, so set the bottom pipe, okay, and then we need to do self dot rect dot top, which is the top pipe, okay, and that is going to be random, right, minus the vertical space between the pipes, minus the pipe. Okay, all right. Line 52, we don't need that. We don't need the start delay because that's already set. I guess we don't really need our horizontal space between pipes either because we didn't really use that. Okay, let me clean that up just a little bit. So what do you think? Think we got it? Let's run it. Okay, there's the first pipe. It's about dead center. Second pipe is down. Third pipe is way up. Fourth pipe is not dead center, which would have been the first pipe. Okay, so now we're way up high. That's fine. It's going down. But you notice each one of these is random. There, that one's kind of down. That one's kind of up. Kind of mid. Okay, and that one's down. So I do believe that that worked. I can tell you there's probably other ways that you could write this code, and if you come up with a better way to make sure that the upper pipe and the lower pipe stay together and can be randomized every time they go off the screen, then let me know. Let me know. I'd be interested to see what your algorithm is for that. So We're going to go ahead and call that for Flappy 5. That looks like that was a long one, but hopefully I can edit that out a little bit. And that one was a little bit tricky. That was a little bit tricky. So if you kept up with all that, good for you. If not, watch it again. Send me an email if you have trouble. And until Flappy 6, I will see you later.